Hi there, I'm Jill Webb from Jill Webb Training. I'm going to show you what to do today if an adult collapses and stops breathing. It's not a good situation to find ourselves in, but as with most things in life, it's better to be prepared. The first part of what you do is no different from any situation where you find somebody unconscious. So I'm going to go through that bit quite quickly. If you want to know a bit more detail, please have a look at one of my other YouTube videos that shows you that, or indeed pop a question and I'm very happy to answer it. So the first thing I'm always going to do is think about myself. I'm the most important person here. The emergency services don't want two casualties on their hands. Is it safe to approach? Are there trailing wires? Could there be electricity involved? Are there any things that might make it not safe for me to approach the casualty? And then I'm going to think about myself. You'll see I've put my gloves on. Perhaps this is a work first aid situation, so I've got the first aid kit to hand, put my gloves on. And then I'm going to see whether my casualty's alert. Johnny, can you hear me? If you can hear me, open your eyes. No response. In the workplace, I'm going to see if I can get somebody out of another office to give me a hand. Help! Can someone help me, please? Thank you. Now I'm going to check whether Johnny is breathing. That's the really important thing. So head tilt, chin lift, making that shape with my fingers, thumb and two fingers, and I'm pulling that chin up and I'm looking down his body for the count of 10, 10 seconds, slow count, keeping that head tilt, chin lift maintained, because of course, if he's unconscious and I let it go, that's what will happen. During 10 seconds, I want to see 2 or 3 good breaths. Not breathing. So I'm at decision time now. What do I do? If an adult is not breathing, I leave the adult to go and get a phone and call 999. Now, I know that will feel totally counterintuitive because we want to help. It's what we do. But actually, there is no point in starting CPR on an adult if I don't know that help is on the way. If it's a child or baby, I do a minute CPR before I go and get help. But for an adult, I get help straight away. I want to be talking in that 999 call about where I am and whether there's a defib available. And I have got a separate YouTube video about a good quality 999 call, so it might be worth a look on that. When I get back, before I rush in, I just check nothing's changed. Because of course, the danger is that something's happened while I've been gone. Flood, fire, anything. I'm going to come down to my casualty, head tilt, chin lift, and then I'm going to pinch the nose, open the mouth. Can you see I'm really trying to maintain that airway? And I'm going to make a seal with my mouth over the casualty's mouth. This isn't very politically correct, but I'm going to say it. It's really like a great big kiss. You really need to get that level of seal to get those breaths in. I'm going to do 2 breaths. And then I'm going to do 30 compressions. For my compressions, I'm going to take my dominant hand, so I'm right-handed, and I'm going to put that out really straight. I'm going to take my other hand and I'm going to lace the fingers. Can you see my hands are really, really straight? And I'm going to put my body weight over the casualty like this. If I try and do it like that, I'm not going to be able to make those compressions count. They need to be decreasing the body by about 1/3. So I've got my hands out really, really straight. I've gone for a line about halfway between the casualty's nipples, and I am starting my compressions now. Quite hard. So you're trying to decrease the body weight by about 1/3, to go down the body by about 1/3, and quite fast as well. They're probably a bit slow, so I'm 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. You will get into a rhythm. I'm on about 18 there. 23, 28, 29, 30. So I've done 2 breaths, 30 compressions. And I'm going to carry on doing 2 breaths and 30 compressions until help arrives. We're hoping that help might arrive in the form of a defib. And there's a separate YouTube clip all about defibs, how to use them and how to find one. But this is the basic. 30 compressions to 2 breaths. Keep doing that until either help arrives. Use your common sense. I don't mean that your pals spotted the ambulance in the car park. The ambulance is inside, unpacked and ready to take over. Or the casualty comes round. Very, very unusual. So only stop CPR if you're absolutely sure that the casualty has come round and is actually beginning to respond. If you're not sure, it's better to carry on. Just a quick note, being sick doesn't mean that you're breathing. It can be a gag reflux. If the casualty's sick, roll them over, lovely job, clean the mouth out, come back and carry on. Or thirdly, you may have to stop CPR if you cannot physically carry on, which is a horrible thought, but it's extremely tiring. You'll find even there, I probably did under a minute CPR. On a course, I often get people to do 2 minutes and they cannot believe how tiring it is. If there's somebody else there, they can help you out. You could show them how to do the compressions, perhaps, but it is going to be really challenging. Couple of things I quite often get asked about CPR. The first one is, have you ever done it? No, unfortunately, I've never have done it, but I've talked now on courses to a lot of people that have. And the one thing they almost unanimously say, please tell learners, is that when you do that first compression, you will hear the ribs begin to break. And that's quite frightening. And as one chap put it, I wish someone had told me before I had to do it. His was a good news story, by the way. He still plays table tennis every week with the person that he did CPR on. So ribs will break, and particularly on children, that feels awful, but better to have a broken rib and be alive. Breathing is what keeps us alive. The second thing is, what if I can't get the breaths in, or what if I don't want to do the breaths because the face is a right mess or whatever? So a couple of things there. The first is, if you are unwilling or unable to get breaths in, you can't see an obstruction, but you're trying like Billy Owen, you can just see nothing's happening, still do the compressions. Compressions alone are really, really effective, so that's really useful. The other thing is, you might want to check in your work and indeed your home first aid kits that you've got some kind of mouth guard that might make you feel more willing to do breaths if you're not sure about whether somebody is perhaps carrying a disease. They're often in a work first aid kit in something like this. You pull them out, dead simple. It's a plastic bag with a mesh thing that goes over the casualty. Head tilt, chin lift, and we're breathing through it. It does make getting the breaths in harder because it's another level, but it's something to try. Not expensive at all. I think they're about £7 or £8 now. Is actually an even better mouth shield like that. Simply better because you can literally put that over the casualty's nose and mouth, strap it round their back and breathe in through there. So a couple of practical ideas there that might help. I hope that's been a useful summary for you, and thank you very much.